Okay, everybody, I'd like to start because I'm sure all of you want to get on with your day, which is probably not sitting and listening to budget talk. I want everyone to be aware that this is being so that people online can hear it and see and hopefully Leah, can you see? Okay, you can. All right, great. And yes. I'm assuming she can hear. Okay, super. All right, well, this is going to be a scintillating about a budget. Can you imagine a scintillating talk about a budget? I cannot.
Yes. Anyone can do it, Nancy. You can do it.
So the whole point here today is to get everyone aware of what is actually in the budget. We realized in Stewardship Committee and on the vestry that people really didn't know what was in it. And so what we wanted to do was break this down so you could see to pay for and where do we get the money to do it from and what that actually really exist for each of those things. So what we did was Diane talked to Jim Patterson, and Jim had a PowerPoint from 2017 that was very scintillating, and to just co-opt it. So what you're seeing today has nothing to do with the 2025 committee and everything to do with the people from 2007. We take no credit except for the numbers, put into today's budget. So that's what we're doing. Stop me at any point if you have questions, okay? The other thing to know is that the draft that the finance come up with for the 2025 budget will be posted in the narthex on a big board so you can see it, okay? You can actually see it again and again. And if you'd like to have it emailed to you, have you be put to sleep, you can use this instead of some kind of a sleep, okay? This is really good for that. Please just tell us and we'll take care of it, okay? So I do want to, on the stewardship committee this year, it's Lynn Wolf, Beth Ann, Tom Kessler, and then Marcia Kleins, who she couldn't stay today. And am I missing one other person? Barbara Lovely, and I think everybody, okay? But Marcia had to go help with a wedding dress for her granddaughter, which is much, trust me. Okay, so this is being recorded. All right, so what does it cost church? And what percentages does each thing? Well, clergy, not surprisingly, is the biggest at 38% of the budget. And that includes, when you actually look at the budget, that includes Misty's housing, Misty's salary, Misty's Social Security, Misty's health care, etc. So when you add, Misty is not getting $116,000, right? When you work, if you work now or when you probably got your health care paid. And in fact, we pay for part of Misty's health care through the diocese. These kinds of things happen. We pay into Misty's pension. right? But we don't count those as part of her salary. So, yes, we have supply clergy in the budget for a relatively, you'll see it in a minute, okay? It's a very low number because like today, Pam does it gratis, okay? The building, and Dave is going to talk about this, Dave Weatherby, in a couple of weeks. The building accounts for about 24 heat, keeping the grass trimmed, plowing the snow plowing. We had this great guy, right? Aaron, he'd be here every Sunday. He charges $4,500. Aaron is doing something else now. And guess what? The lowest bid we got was $7,100. Okay, well, that jumped. All right. These are though that we have to pay for, because who wants to plop through the snow to get to here for the service? Okay, and we'll go into what those. The office costs $53,000, right? And that accounts for 17% of our budget for equipment, for etc. You're going to see what it is. The diocese, we have to pay into the diocese like every other church, and that costs about $39,000 a year, about this year, okay? So we pay that money in. It goes towards all sorts of support for small churches, etc. The bishop came and talked about how important that money is that we give in to help support across the diocese, okay? Because there are a lot of services that we rely on that the diocese provides. A payroll. We're not doing payroll here. They provide the payroll, take care of the health insurance, etc., that we can get for our clergy. So that's that chunk. Outreach, 15,000. And Marcia is going to talk in a couple of weeks in church. Music and worship doesn't seem like very much. That's because why? Why is our music and worship? Greg and Mary, St. Greg and St. Mary. Okay, they do it for free, so that's why that number is lower. Other you'll see includes staff training, go at the convention, some administrative pass-through, etc. So those are the costs for about $309,736. So you want to know about compensation, or you want to know about clergy costs. $72,188 is for Misty. That includes her housing and her salary. Pension contributions, almost $13,000. Health insurance of $10,000. We have to pay for Misty and Joseph package. Okay. And then travel and reimbursement, continuing ed, and there's your supply clerk, $1,000. Okay. Any questions? And the property. The repair budget is about $9,400. The sexton, $16,000. Building supplies, grounds maintenance, that's the plat. Facility insurance, $15,000. And we're thankful for that because for something, the insurance pays. And utilities, $18,000. $10,000 of that is heating, okay? That's a bargain. We pay less per gallon this year when we signed the contract than here. Yes. Okay? And that's all done through John James and the Historical Society. So that rest is electrical, etc. Okay, for about $70,000. The diocesan assessment, how did they figure that number out? Well, here's the formula. It's 10% on the first of a parish's net operating income. So basically that's the same for every parish, right? And it's 15% on the remainder of the parish's non-net operating income. Okay? This number is achieved. Everybody pays, well, 10% of 10,000. Hard math, 1,000. Okay? And then the rest is the 15% on our operating income from a couple of, because it's based on what we have to send into them. Okay? The office, about $25,600 for Julia, which is, if you've ever had to deal with, a bargain. Okay? A bargain. Okay? The bookkeeper, we pay $5,700. Supplies, look at that puny little number for supplies. We have really cut that back. Okay? That's why you don't get very many mailings. Telephone and cable, that number used to be bigger, but now we have Go Net Speed, which Pamela Cox recommended, and our internet budget has come down. Equipment maintenance, that's for computers, etc., the copier, workers' comp, and then Social Security. And that's Social Security for Tony and for Julia. And for Steve? Do we pay any on Steve? I'm not sure. We do. Okay. All right. So that's how we get our $53,000.
Where's Tony's?
Tony is, did I show?
Yes.
Sexton, right there. There he is. Okay. Yeah, he is getting paid $16,000. Okay. This building is pretty darn clean for $16,000.
You're getting another bargain there too.
Yeah. Okay. Outreach. This is 5% of the overall budget. And you can see where this number comes from. Operating budget of 5,000, and Marcia's going to talk about all of this. The discretionary fund, you may note that number went up because Misty came to the vestry and said this year, hey, I don't have enough money to give out. People are coming and coming and coming and coming, and my amount is not enough. So we increased that to $4,800. Okay?
So we doubled it.
We doubled it. You bet. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jackie. We doubled it. And it's probably still not enough. Okay? And then this is a pass-through of parishioner outreach that Marcia's going to explain. So it comes in from you and it goes out. So it's just a pass-through. Music and worship. And notice that thing at the bottom. We are very, very blessed. Substitute organists, $2,400. Hospitality, stewardship, adult ed, flower guild, and altar guild. Jackie, I left the 800 in there instead of 650. Okay? It's not going to make a huge difference in this. Yeah, but the altar guild was getting a little gypped. So you were getting cut sherry. No, that's not true. Okay, so that was irreverent. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, any questions on where the money goes? Any questions on where the money goes? We have a bare bones budget, folks. There is hardly anything we can cut. All right? That's the point. We don't have anything to cut very much. We cut out the AV person. We cut out the organist and choir director. So we can nickel and dime. You know, you could say to the office, oh, instead of 7,000, we want you to spend 5,000. It's only going to give us $2,000, and they're already at the bare bones. Okay? So that's the main point. We are at the bare bones. Okay. So how do we fund? It's no surprise. 80% of what we have comes from pledges, plate, and quote, non-pledge income. So you might say to me, I never heard of anything so stupid in all my life. Non-pledge income. What is that? Well, it turns out that most of us pledge, but there's a sector of people, about $15,000 worth of sector of people, who give in regularly and don't pledge, but you can count on them, just like you can count on the fact it's going to be noon in about 35 minutes. So that's our non-pledge income.
Dot McKenna used to claim that she could tell you down to the penny who's going to put not pledge and what they're going to give us. That's true, isn't it, Jackie?
She could do it.
I mean, Steve knows who's sending in the money, okay? So that's what that is. But the point is, 80% of our money to cover those expenses comes from us right now, okay? So you can see the pledges. I want to explain the numbers here. 208,000 is from 2025. That's our pledged amount in 2025. I can tell you right now, to balance the budget, we would need to make that number 232,000. Okay? That
says at the bottom 309.
No, this is to make the balanced budget with all of the income numbers added up.
Okay.
Okay? So,
Oh, I see.
okay?
Yep.
So 11, that's the number that's expenses, is 309,736. So in order to come up with that number, the reality is that we need to increase our pledged amount or come up with some other source of money. Okay? Extortion might work.
How many parishioners do we have at the church? Like, how many people are pledging that amount?
65 people, 65 pledging entities. I have to be careful when I say 65 people. That's not right, because many people, household, 65 entities. Yes. Okay. And that number has not grown dramatically. It's grown a little bit, but not dramatically over the past couple of years, from about 60 to 61 to 62, and now we're at 65. But, you know, sometimes we lose people, right? They move away, they go to the great church in the sky, you know, we lose people. So it's not just that new people come, you've got a balance there, okay? But it's about 65 entities, all right? Plate offering is about 4,600. Special offerings are things that come in for all sorts of entities. Pass-through is the outreach for 6,000. Investments, I'm going to go over that in a second. The investments are about $38,000. Gifts and facilities use, so when the garden club comes or something like that, they give a donation. And then fundraising. Last year, we put down $10,000 for fundraising. And thanks to Connie and Paula and Sheila and Tina and everybody, we made, and had a hell of a lot of fun doing it, we made $11,500. And on the mums, we made about $800. So this year, we are thinking 13,000. Okay? All right. And then miscellaneous comes from a whole bunch of different things that I'm not going to go into here, but it's a teeny little number. I didn't even really put it in there. Any questions? Yes.
I immediately think, could we be trying to get other organizations to use this facility and give us some money towards that? But then my concern is, if we up that a lot, is that too much on Tony? How much of that is going to impact what he has to do for very little money?
Okay. Excuse me. So two things there.
Yeah.
Number one, we can no longer rent any space in this building because the city of Bath says that that is not possible in an R1 district. We are in an R1 residential district. Okay? So we cannot rent space. Remember, you may remember, I remember distinctly that we were going to rent to Mid-Coast Literacy. And all of a sudden that went poof. It went poof because the and guy who's head of enforcement found out through a newspaper article in the Times Record that we were going to be doing that. And he said, R1 district. And after much discussion, I mean, we didn't just take it lying down, as Will know. We thought, we're going to fight this. Well, to fight it costs a lot of money in court. Okay. And they were not bending back over backwards for us. So we cannot rent space here. Okay. What we can do is we can gratefully receive donations. All right. But we cannot rent space. We've tried a lot of different avenues on this, but we cannot rent
Did
space.
that law change? Because we used to have a preschool downstairs.
It was grandfathered.
Is, Nancy, I think you said it, but I missed it. Was the 11,000 from the festival that we raised included in this? In other words, now the deficit is 209,000 plus 12,000.
That was this year, Ed. That's this year. So it's on this year's budget. This is 2026. So what we're saying is in 2026, we think we can raise $13,000 in fundraising because in 2025, thanks to our wonderful gala team and all of you and the mums, okay, mum's the word, we raised over 12,000. So we're saying, oh, we could probably do 13,000. Okay. So that's in the 2025 budget, Ed. This is the new budget for 26. Okay? And you'll be able to see in the document that gets posted what 2024 was actual. Oh wait, I can show this to you. Let me finish this and then I'll show this to you. Okay? Whoops. All right? But you'll be able to see what we actual got in 2024, what we budgeted in 25, and what we're proposing in 26. Okay? Excuse me? Yeah.
I just want everybody to realize that the pass-through is not recorded on our money to the diocese.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Even though we count it
Yeah.
as income here, it's not reported as income to the diocese.
And the diocese has come up with a brand new form to wheedle out because parishes were trying to hide money from the diocese. Okay? Not surprising, not surprising. So there is a new form, but yes, that is 100% correct.
So I have a question, besides the zoning problem to doing rentals, what about the nonprofit situation for your overall taxes? If you're renting out and making money, does that affect
Then we
your
would be
nonprofit?
taxed.
You would be taxed.
We would, if we did rent, that part would be taxed. Yes. So if we rented the lower tubs, we'd be taxed on that.
So the garden club uses it and they make a donation.
Yes, they do. They donate to Grace Church.
Yeah, okay. Could other organizations like the garden club use this
Yes.
facility and make a donation?
And they do.
They do.
Yes. Yes. It's more than the garden club that is coming here using this. There's a painters group, there's a this, there's a that. There are a lot of different groups. And in fact, one of the things that's being considered is that Patent Free Library has a tool library. And they want to potentially use some of the space downstairs as the tool library. So they would thank Grace and make a donation.
A facility use.
No, a donation. They would make a donation, okay? A donation. All right?
Who knows why Patent Free Library wants to donate to us, but they do.
They love us.
As long as it's voluntary.
Yes, Peter.
Is the pledges received or the funds pledged?
That is the pledges that were pledged. And we actually get a very high percentage. Unlike many churches, we get a very high percentage. When our people say we're going to give money to you, they give money. Okay? Of course, it helps that the senior and junior warden come with a gun to their houses and say, pay up.
I thought it was Jackie with the gun.
Jackie is too nice. Jackie is too nice.
I agree with that.
Yes, Ed.
Nancy, what about, I know it's tough to get grants for operating income, but have we explored the possibility of other grants from anywhere?
We haven't explored the possibility of grants for operating income. If you know of grants for operating income, please tell us. What we did do is, as you will remember, we got 2 grants for the playground. One from Davenport and one from the diocese. So that was $9,000 for the playground from grants. But I don't know of any for operating budget.
No, but we could maybe get some for adult ed. I mean, like,
Yes.
if we were sponsoring if we want to do a series, we might be able to.
Yes, yes, we
if
could.
don't have it in the budget.
Right. There are ways to cover some of these things, but the bottom line is the big amounts that we're trying to cover are operating and Misty's salary. Any other questions on this? Yes, I'm sorry, Mark.
I know the best rate is actually trying to charge, year by year. Have you thought a little longer range? And for example, could we sell off these lots that we're not using and are just growing weeds, and put that money into the endowment fund? Anyway,
So
that's an asset that was just sitting there.
the question about selling the lots has been actually looked into because you brought it up. Okay. And those lots are not worth anything because you could not build on them. You cannot build on them. I cannot give you right now all of the facts, but Mr. Bartlett has looked into it. And there are issues with access and all sorts of things. So that particular chunk is not saleable.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? So Bath Institution for Savings is where we are currently have our money invested. And there's a 12-quarter rolling average that's done. And as of end of September, the value of that account is $760,000 and change. There is a policy that was written in 2016.
Oh, before that.
Okay, well, the copy I've seen is dated 2016. Yeah, that the church can use up to 5% of that amount as income, which is where we get that $37,773 from. Now, if you look at this year's budget, you will find that there's an interest income and there's this number that's called the non-interest income. And our finance committee, which is chaired by Pamela Cox and Roger's on the finance committee, Will's on the finance committee, Guard is on the finance committee. I know I'm forgetting. Jackie's on the finance committee. Jim Patterson is on the finance committee. I'm probably forgetting a lot of other people. I don't have it right on the tip of my tongue here, but they basically said we shouldn't be double dipping on 2 lines, combine it into 1 line, which is line 15 for anybody who wants to know. And that is the number, 37,773, to be good stewards. Okay?
Yes, that's what our document says. And at any time, the vestry can override that or underride that
Right.
by a vote of the vestry.
But this year, we think we're going to have to take all the 5%. So here's where that balancing act number comes from. Right, remember that we have 208,000 in pledges this year. In order to balance that budget, because remember, the income way back here has to get a balanced budget, has to equal the number of the outflow, which in our bare bones budget is $309,736. So in order to balance, we've got to come up with $309,736. In order to do that, that pledged amount has to increase 208 from 208 to really 232,000. And that means a lot of money. $24,000.
The income and all from the investments is already included, right?
Yes.
Beyond that.
This is the 37,773 as of whatever the investment number might change, right, by the end of December, but as of right now, that's what it is. Okay, so we are going to have to belly up to the communion rail as it is, right? We have to come up with more money. All right, I'm going to tell you something. The senior warden needs to lead. And you might notice, people who sat next to me in choir, Tom probably noticed, I have this white stuff on my hands. I need to side my garage. I've waited for 2 years, and somebody told me, one of my former students, you got to side that garage, Kinner, because if not, you're going to ruin that zip stuff or other. So I got a quote. $17,000 to $22,000 to side that darn garage. Do you know how much the materials cost from Hammond Lumber? $2,400. Do you want to know what? This is from the first step. I put up all of the trim yesterday with the help of Pilot and Sailor. With the help of Pilot and Sailor. We have to make these kinds of decisions, folks. You and me. And I'm going to increase my pledge this year by $3,000. Where am I getting it? From my damn garage. Think about what you can do. We need to do this, folks. Okay? It's not just me, it's all of us together. Together, we need to do this. Look at what this institution is doing. With God's help, last Sunday was wonderful. Did you see all those kids out there playing on that playground and their parents? That's what grace is about. That's where Misty is leading us. Think about the fact that we have Narcotics Anonymous here every Sunday night and AA here every Thursday night. That's the power of Grace Church with God leading us.
Could I add, Nancy, that it's also the power of Pam Mott, what she says, what
Yes.
Nancy says, what Greg, I can still remember what Greg said 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
That the liturgy that feeds us to go forth into the world, we are consuming that.
Yes.
So
So, to grace with gratitude. All things come from thee, O Lord, and of thine own have we given thee. It wasn't that dynamic, but it was okay.
I know you're a politician.
Okay, and I promised people they'd be out of here by noon. So questions, other questions that you have. And remember, all of this will be posted in the narthex on a table, on a board. If you want to have a copy of it, just tell us and we'll email it to you. Any questions?
Yeah, but I have an advertisement.
Yes.
If you love what Nancy's doing, she does it on Monday night prayers too. In dynamic Monday night prayers.
I don't talk about money.
No. She's amazing at this, she's amazing at that, so come join us on Monday night.
Well, that's because the power of prayer is very, very important. Witness our healing every Sunday. So if you have any questions, please feel free to come up. Thank you for listening online. Leah, did you have a question, or Carol? Oh, you're muted, Leah.
No,
Yeah,
no question.
Gary's here. He had a question. I don't know if you can hear.
I
Hi,
can hear
Nancy.
him. Yes, hi, Gary.
Yeah, hi, Nancy. Hi, could you go through the mathematics, or the arithmetic rather, of the diocesan assessment specific to our parish? Thanks.
I probably can't give you the exact number right now, Gary. We'll have to, I don't have that with me, okay? But basically, everybody pays $1,000, every parish, and then it takes 15% of our net operating income. And there's a whole form that we fill out every year in March that we submit. And it's submitted in March, and they look at it. This year we got a redo, everybody did, in July. But it goes through certain lines. It's how much money basically we have coming in through pledges, et cetera. Not the pass-through, but it's pledges, it's the investment funds, et cetera. And they take that number and they multiply it by 0.15
Sure, I got it. Thank you.
and add on the 1,000.
And you get, and they get so much per head too.
No, not anymore. They're not getting any per head anymore. So we could have 5 people or 1 million people, and they're not charging per head. This is the new way. Anything else? Gary, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Nancy, there's also one minor thing, but I think there was a mismatch or a mistake possibly on one of the graphics where the pie chart, it was saying 5% for both outreach and music and worship. So I think just because this is being recorded and you're going to post it, I think later on you said music and worship was 2%. So it's just a minor
Yes.
thing, but
It should be 2%. It should be 2%. I will change, it was on the pie chart. Yes, it was
Yeah.
on the pie chart. I'll change that. Yep. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
One thing, Nancy, do we have any, we don't have, you didn't show the balance sheet. But
Yeah.
is there any debt right now?
We don't have any outstanding debt.
No,
Right.
outstanding debt.
No, no debt. Don't have any loans or anything like that.
So in a pinch, it's possible.
I'm sorry.
I said in a pinch, which we're in, it may be, there may be a solution in taking a loan or a mortgage or a partial mortgage. I'm not recommending that, but
Okay.
someone who's banking experience can take it.
My take would be, if you actually need more money, I would go to our investments first before I would go to the loan.
Well, we'll bring that up. Lynn, can you write that suggestion down so that we don't forget it? The suggestion is to take a loan.
Hi, Nancy, I just, one quick note, I did a quick calculation. The $24,000 that we're coming up short with amounts to approximately
$365 for each of those 65 regular pledgers for the year. So that's just one quick calculation. And then my question was, any idea, how does the diocese feel about their budget? Do you have any idea how they're feeling?
They're having a diocesan convention next week, right, next weekend. No, the 20, that's right, excuse me, not next weekend, the weekend after. Yeah, and so they'll be talking about their budget.
Yeah, all that information's online, I think now.
But they definitely depend on this money coming from each of the churches. And this property is theirs, not ours.
It is. Yeah. That's why they help.
Yes, Paul?
Nancy, I'm new here this year. Are there any other new parishioners here this year?
Yes, there are new parishioners, and as I mentioned, there are new people who pledge, but there are also people who pass or who move away, etc. And so it ends up balancing out pretty well. I mean, not totally. We have increased, but we have increased over the past few years, several years, from about 60 to 65 this year. So it's not like a horde because it's the net. Other questions? Yes, Frank.
I recommend that we not think about what if we don't make it. We represent a third of those pledges, basically. Let's commit to making it.
And if you want to help me with my garage, please come. Yes, Jackie.
The other part of that is that even though we have a hole in our budget, our cash flow is very good.
Yes.
So we aren't in a position where we don't have the money to pay for what's going on.
Yeah.
I remember a number of years ago, the senior warden having to stand up at a Sunday service to say that Grace Church had a $30,000 deficit from that year. And unless we paid it up, we were not going to continue. And the money over that week came in from the parishioners. So to say that we're not going to make the budget, it's happened before, and we bailed ourselves out. But the thing is, this is our budget. This is what we have to meet. And by God's grace and the power of the Holy Spirit, we will as we have for years. So any negativity does not fly at this point. I've seen it worse. I've seen it worse in the past. And we always came through.
Okay, anything else?
All about love.
Okie dokie.
Nick,
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Gary. Go ahead.
yep, one question. The trust funds, which is around $750,000, is there any numbers on the performance of how that is done over the last several years?
Yes, there are numbers, and I don't have them here, but the Finance Committee is looking at how the trust fund has done and is looking at other options for potentially investing slightly differently. But that's being considered. They would have to do that. They're going to come talk to the vestry this month, October 21st, and then make a recommendation and then look into it further. So they
Thank you.
have all the percentages. I don't happen to have them right here with me, but it may be that it could be there could be some benefits to moving.
Who chairs that?
Who chairs it? Pamela Cox.
Oh, yes, I love it. Thank you.
So again, I think I missed some people on that committee. I don't happen to have it right on the top of my head, but Jackie is on there, Pamela Cox is on there, Will Nielsen is on there, Jim Patterson is on there, Gard Conley is on there, Conrad is on there. I knew there was somebody I was forgetting. Conrad is on there. There are a couple of other, I don't remember them all right off the top of my head, and I apologize for not remembering. Because they do yeoman service. And they just met last week on Tuesday to discuss the details of the budget. Let me see if I can pull, oh, I probably can't. That's not what I want. But there is this very detailed budget, this thing, which is something that you can see it's going to be hanging up. It's got the 2024 numbers, the 2025 budgeted numbers, and the 2026 numbers. And you may say, oh my gosh, look at that 218,000. How did that happen? That's with the non-pledgers. See the NA there? We didn't have the N. We were always like, oh my gosh, we're making so much money. We get over 100% of what was pledged. That's because of those non-pledgers, non-pledging pledgers. So, yes. Oh, you're very welcome. It's what they pay me to do. So you can look at all of this. The colors just mean what the finance committee substituted in. Yellow was estimates, just keeping some of them the same as the previous year, etc. Okay, but you'll get all of this, and if you want to have it emailed, please just tell us. We'll email it to you. Okay. Great. Can we have a prayer, Frank, in closing? Frank, could you do this so people online could?
Lord be with you.
Also with you.
Let us pray. Gracious God, give us gratitude for the blessing of this parish, for the blessing of this fellowship, for the blessing of all the prayer that surrounds us. And help us to remember our part in all that. Not just the money we give, but the lives we give of service here, the lives we give to one another. Help us to expand our grateful hearts so that this parish can not just crawl, not just walk, not just run, but fly. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Frank. Thank you. Okay. Enjoy the forenoon. Somebody wanted to end the forenoon.
My last three churches ended in one in Canada. Oh, I was like 5/8 or half time. I was half time in New Bedford. And the one before that, I was like I was there every Sunday and celebrated Mass. How is it work? Now, she gets a Sunday off. I don't understand.
The way the diocese has three churches, anybody who's figured out Sunday off.
Visiting
The way it's written is for Sunday off. So the diocese will not allow for Sunday.
I wish the Diocese of Massachusetts had said that to me. When I was at St. Andrews in Bedford, it was 18 years. I was there every Sunday. No one ever said anything.
Well, I don't know. All I know is when we negotiated this, and the same with the thing. She was and she got Sunday off.
And they didn't pay for my health care. I come under the government as a veteran.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't pay for my pension. And they didn't pay for something else. So,
Well, we do not. So part of that is Joe is on health insurance and Clover is and she's so some of that is costing me back. You go down on the way.
United Church of Christ has been out to me lately to do work for them. And I need occasional supply in that just to make my own budget. I still work. And so I'm just putting this together.
Well, that's, if you were a full-time clergy in the diocese of Maine, I would do that. And if you're not, I'm not sure what will happen. I don't really know, but I know that.
All right, just curious.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Oh, cool. That'll open up some time for us. Well, I say that, seems like after I retired, I got just as busy as
Here.
Right. Yeah. Hey, are you playing out?